Welcome to the online course on the entrepreneurial mindset. Today we'll be discussing a very interesting reading, Making the Ask. The ask is a skill in which we are able to convince others, to connect with others, to further and grow our bird in hand, and so on and so forth. Ask is the oxygen for the entrepreneurial process. And if you don't have oxygen, you can't breathe. So how to do the ask? So asks are not a panacea. You can't always get what you want, but if you ask, you might get something what you need. So that's why seasoned entrepreneurs know this intuitively. And according to Rodden researchers, they get what they need because they live by the mantra always be asking. So this is so important that if you are not good at honing this ability, to polishing and practicing this ability and understanding it in detail, when, why, and how to ask the question, when, why, and how to ask each person, you're probably not going to be successful. So uh, the effectual ask, let's have a quick overview of effectuation once again. The effectual ask reading says that seasoned founders avoid marketing research. They avoid strategic planning and prediction because that makes their business model, their project too heavy. It's too resource dependent. Instead, they plunge into action. Their decisions are informed by distinctive logic, which is called effectuation, and unlike causation, which is ends driven, this is means driven. That's a quick recall of what we have been learning. And rather than developing a business plan to raise money and bring experienced people on their board, what they do, experienced entrepreneurs start with their needs. Bird in hand, who they are, what they know, whom they know, and explore what they could do with that. And they enlist others, the quilt thing. They embrace surprise. So together with their partners and potential friends and network, they iteratively co-create new products, new ventures and markets. And people keep on joining them. We call them self-selecting stakeholders. And then that leads to emergent ideas and goals which starts to coalesce. So to identify and attract such stakeholders, to find such partners, it's very important that you have the right effectual ask. So this skill has to be really honed at. And what are the features of a good ask? A good ask is supposed to be open-ended. It starts with an open-ended conversation, as we see in this Neil's case when he asked the Japanese, "What brought you here?" So this is an open-ended conversation, which will they will try to keep on explaining and telling that the good weather and the family network and the tour operators and our we follow these sculptures. So these questions and these answers emerge out of that open-ended question. The second feature is entrepreneurs communicate to potential stakeholders. When they do that, they talk the most compelling thing about their idea, the most important, and they, in a very forthcoming, in a very interesting way, they listen to those stakeholders carefully and let them decide, let them come and contribute, let them co-create and shape those ideas. So you invoke their creativity and invoke their thinking process. So they start thinking. So the target of your ask could be anybody, any stranger, friend, on the street, neighbor, on the morning breakfast table in a hotel. You don't have to know a lot about the person you're asking. And openness and flexibility. Be open to what others may or may not be willing to give you. So that you don't know what's going to happen. So talk in a brave way. And what makes the ask effectual is that you're allowing others to decide what they want to give. You're not forcing anybody. You're just sharing and making them think and reflect. And you see, look at a very interesting example. Doug Lebda, founder and CEO of the online loan marketplace Lending Tree. So this is his marketplace, and this is the CEO. and he is inviting investors who are coming here with their own money, and he wants to connect new ventures with them. So this is a marketplace where people are connecting with potential investors, and the CEO wants to make money out of this process. So Lebda, what is who? He was an MBA model. He makes a business plan, tries to raise money for initial investment through a linear and causal way, does market research, writes a business plan, but nobody is convinced, and he fails. And then he comes up with a very interesting effectual ask. Then he asked a potential investor, "What would it take for you to invest $10,000 in my business? What would it take? What will it take for you to invest in this business?" So you see, what will it take? This is an open-ended question, and it makes the investor think. So you know what he says? And he said, "Hey, what it would take for you to take this leads and see." He said, "Charge me on a closed loan basis. Let me come for free here, and if this deal matures with this person, and then I give him a loan, and based on the closing of this deal, you can charge something which is reasonable." So that is the thinking process of the investor, and he came to know about that through this effectual ask. Part two: practical steps to entrepreneurial expertise. So we will just look into some examples and look at some ways how to we can work on this the skill. So look at Steve Jobs. At the age of 12, he asked Bill Hewlett, co-founder of the tech giant HP, for his spare parts to build a frequency counter to count things. Jobs didn't know Hewlett personally, but he, as a young kid, he wanted to do something. He couldn't find the spares, and he just looked at the telephone book and telephone directory, and out of that, he got his number. He just called him, "Sir, I would like to talk to you, sir. I'm making something. Can you help me in arranging those spares?" So, according to researchers, most founders learn how to make the ask. And honing that ability, polishing that, practicing that is the key in the entrepreneurial process. So, there's some advice for the potential founders and 7 things which have been see described in this reading of Sarah Saraswati. Make asking a habit. Be open. Don't be too strategic. Talking too heavy. Ask sometimes with what is easy to give. Sometimes you can try that. Practice busting the internal barriers in your mind. Keep asking. And so these, let's quickly look at it. Make asking a habit. You can ask your neighbor, your friend on the car, train, or the airplane sitting next to you. Start by inquiring about their background, what they do, open-ended questions. Formulate the ask in the back of your head, and then you need to ask open-ended questions. Seeking an investor. So, what would it take for you to invest $10,000, $100,000 in my venture? So, open-ended question. So, you make him think and reflect. You want to sell something, or you want to get an advice from a marketing specialist. You and the person sitting next to you is a marketing specialist, so you can ask an open-ended question. If you were me, how would you market this product? How would you sell this product? So once again, an open-ended question will make him think, and he will use his experience, his history, his education, and give you a better answer. And if you are want to invite some people to be on your board of directors, advisory board, and you don't know how to, so you can, how can I make this a big event for you? How can, what will make you join my board, sir? So you see, we need to keep on asking these things. Be open and allow others to think with you. So when you're talking to people, you're also listening to what they want to do with your idea, your skill. So if we allow others to think with us, so then they start thinking and reflecting on their own history and patterns, and then when they comment on that, they develop a emotional investment in you, in your business, and which is very good for co-creation. And there might be some commonality, some big bang, or some connecting of dots taking place. Don't be too strategic. You see, in the novice entrepreneurs in the beginning, they're thinking special people will be coming on board. So he says that experienced entrepreneurs, they allow people to become involved with startups in many ways, not only investors, suppliers, advisors, friends of friends, leads, advice, network, contacts, suppliers, industry. Allow them to select their role. So don't be too strategic and inviting them. Ask what is easy to give. Sometimes people are very happy to help within their affordable loss. So, for example, the MBA student asked Doug Lebda, the founder of Lending Tree, sir, we want to go from point A to point B. The tickets are very costly. Can you help us in some way? Is there a way? And he ended up offering them his frequent flyer miles, which didn't cost him anything, but for the student it was. So easy things. Sometimes big things work as well. Richard Branson wanted to launch an airline, looking for an airplane which was too costly. He went to Boeing and asked 747 for a rent, and he got it. So we have to practice busting our internal barriers. So we get shy, what keeps us holds us back, depending upon the culture. We need to practice that and keep asking, and it can be nerve wracking. The downside of not asking is enormous. Don't be satisfied with dreaming. Take action by practicing this, and some effectual questions, question prompts. So you can try this, practice this. You're doing a project. Hey, sir, what will make you collaborate on this project? What will make you endorse on my project? Ask someone to, what will can you help me in getting my car repaired? And sir, I have this skill and I can help people doing that. And can you help me in finding an internship? So borrow a car to devise a good question for this. You want to be dropped. You can't find a taxi or a car, so you need to ask a very interesting question. You're looking for a job, you need to ask a very interesting question. So simple questions won't work. Effectual asks. Money, ask your teacher in an effectual way for an upgrade. You have to be creative and be prepared to have an offer as well. It doesn't have to be something very grand. It could be a seat on an advisory board, an honorary business card, a first edition of the product, small gestures maybe. So even if they say no, ask them what it would take for them to say yes. So these small things, we say that every no is a learning opportunity and every yes is a potential commitment. So with this, we end this session of Effectual Ask and looking forward to practice that and apply it in our entrepreneurial ventures.